Oh, hello, hello. Chainsaw Man chapter 226 came out today, and we are going to quickly talk about it. Again, another short chapter, a bit of a recurring theme recently. But anyways, last chapter I thought that Denji and Yoru were like in a apartment that's, you know, above the ground, and in a way I was right because they were in the middle of an ocean, but I was off by quite a lot because I thought they were like really high up in the sky. Turns out they are just a few steps away from the water. But anyways, Denji shows up. He wonders where all the devils are because right now they are in the middle of nowhere. Yoru immediately starts shooting Denji, but for some reason, either because the wall is really sturdy or maybe something else, it took her a lot of shots to get Denji to like get blown off the platform, blown off the broken apartment building here. But as she does that, she blows Denji into the sea, and a devil shows up, similar to how the Darkness Devil once showed up, like from above. This devil shows up through a little portal, a little what you call this? Manhole here, almost. So it's the Locust Devil, and for some reason, the Locust Devil instantly wipes the floor with Yoru. She got a couple hits in, we can assume, because the Locust Devil's head is almost completely detached by the time Denji swam back up. And also, he had a hole in its body, so Yoru didn't quite go down without a fight, but she did get bodied. And there's this one panel that I was a bit confused on, which is when Denji climbs back up. For some reason, there's like three panels of Denji's doing the same thing, but I did a little bit of searching. Apparently, locusts have five eyes. They have two regular eyes, two big eyes, and then three little eyes for like colors. So that's their simple eyes. So maybe Fujimoto is trying to depict the Locust Devil looking at Denji with three of its eyes, perhaps. But anyways, Denji comes back up, and when he does, he remembers his swimming lesson with Reze. So if she never taught him how to swim, he might have drowned there. But anyways, Denji comes back up. Yoru transforms back into Asa, who asks Denji to save her, and Denji takes her back into the normal world, the real world, and he fights the Locust Devil, maybe beating it, because the chapter ends, we're not really sure. The chapter ends with Denji losing an arm, and the Locust Devil appeared to be beheaded. But he was already like that when he fought Yoru, so we're not really sure what the Locust Devil is capable of just yet. So that's the end of the chapter. So right away, the Locust Devil appears to be really freaking strong. But we'll talk a bit about that. My immediate thought is I have mixed feelings on like how quick we are to get out of hell, because every time we go to hell, Fujimoto take us back out immediately. But at the same time, I do appreciate that he did maintain the menacingness of hell, and that, you go there, it's dangerous. Any devil can just start like making a fool out of you, like the Locust just did to Yoru. But other questions that we have is so first of all, is where are all the devils? There's a possibility that they are all like they all went into Earth, as Yoru is doing her thing, as the day of the apocalypse is close to happening. That's a possibility, but also it's a locust, and locusts are very territorial. They kick every other living being off the places that they infest. So it could just be the nature of the locust devil driving every devil away, and that's like their territory. Question number two is, why is the locust devil so strong? Also, the locust devil looks a lot like Griffith from Berserk. It's giving me the EBGBs. But the Locust Devil, Locust is naturally a fearsome being, even more so than cockroaches, right? Because locusts, they cause like mass famine, they cause mass death, and all that. Mass starvation, mass everything. They're the worst. But at the same time, you would think that Yoru, the embodiment of war, would be strong enough to fight off mere locust. Yet she couldn't. So this is something that we talked a little bit about last week. Is Yoru not as strong in hell? Is she weaker when she's in hell? Because she can't access a lot of her weapons. She maybe like devils aren't as fearful of the concept of war as human beings are. So maybe Yoru is not as capable in hell as she is on Earth. And I guess the last thing that I want to go over is whether Denji would have saved Yoru if she just asked for help instead of turning into Asa to do so. Because Denji does consider Yoru his friend in a weird way. So I do think maybe if Yoru just asked like a normal person, and instead of doing this like hostage situation, Denji would have been more receptive to helping her. But we will never know for sure, at least for that moment. But anyways, that's about all we got. I drew Kusakabe because Kusakabe had, he is the number one devil hunter in my heart. He had the best death out of any character in the series. Biggest balls of in all of Chainsaw Man. But anyways, let's take a look at some of the chat. Hello, a lot of Reze art callbacks to comment about knowing how to swim and calling the timeout. The Locust Devil looks like Kamen Rider, except specifically from the show Black Sun. I never watched Kamen Rider. I did watch this. My only knowledge of Kamen Rider is that one clip on YouTube where this one Kamen Rider, he fought this guy. He ran over him with his bike and like drove him all the way to the beach and just start like wailing on him for 2 minutes straight. It's very metal. The last 10 chapters have been so random, it's like cliffhangers that get solved in 30 seconds and lead to nowhere. Yeah. I would say the pacing of part 2 in general is I do think Fujimoto does go really hard with like action heavy chapters that take maybe 10, 20, 30 seconds to read it all, and whereas in part 1 he kind of like mixes some with exposition chapters in between. Because let me think of the action heavy chapters. Because in part 1, I think like as far as action go, there's really only like a spree of like 2 to 3 chapters at once, and then I'll go back to the regular story. Whereas here we're kind of getting like a lot of action after action and not as much time to digest and then go to the bigger picture. Let's see. Yoru keeps playing dirty by showing that she will only change to Asa when it's convenient. Yes, yes. Why are they in the ocean? That is a good question, because locusts are usually, very desert oriented. I don't think they necessarily thrive in the ocean. Um, that is a good question. Why are they in the ocean? I do think the Hmm. I do think the apartment in the middle of the sea imagery very apocalyptic to begin with. It's the my first thought is that like it's almost feel like a future version of Earth rather than hell. As if something terrible already happened in hell that leads maybe the devils to run away from. Um, but I don't know if that's what Fujimoto was going with. He could just drop it in the ocean because the last time we went to hell, we were on like a field, so that's the opposite of an ocean. I wonder pulling the Locust Devil will create a huge impact on Earth. Yeah, I mean, if Denji eats the Locust Devil, I don't know if like Locust is if the erasure of like Locust is a positive thing for humanity, because I'm sure they did some research on it. I remember reading a study that said that killing all mosquitoes would have no negative benefit or no negative consequences for Earth. I don't know if that applied to locusts, because like emotionally speaking, locusts don't really bring a whole lot of good to humans, but I don't know if there's like other ecosystem benefit that they could bring. I'm not studied enough on this. I wonder if the ocean is a reference to the river Styx, which represent eternal violence for Wraith, Sullen, and the lazy. I could be. Although I don't really get the sense of like river from this. It feels more oceanish. But there should be. I do think it's like some kind of a religion reference because locust, famine, apocalypse. I do feel Fujimoto could have connected the locust to Fami more, the famine devil more, to really connect the whole biblical thematics. Let's see. Locust showed as one of the plagues by Moses, and eventually they had to cross the Red Sea. It makes more sense that it is one of the nine realms, the anger realm. Yeah, yeah, that's the whole biblical thing we were just talking about. Locust. But yeah. But yeah, not really sure where we're going with this, because like the other person said earlier, the recent chapters have been kind of hard to get a grip on as far as, predicting where we're going next. Because we just went to hell and now we are out of hell within the chapter. And I feel every time we go to hell, I have to do like a obligatory comment on like meeting the new version of the Blood Devil, which never happens. But who knows? Because apparently they have free portals to hell now, so Denji can go back at any point. It seems. I don't know. I'm not really sure where we're going with this. But, the Locust Devil, pretty cool. I like the design, but upon rereading the chapter, we actually don't see a whole lot of it. We see like this shot of the Locust Devil, we see the bit of its severed head, and then we had like a back shot of its wings and limbs, but otherwise, we don't really get a close up of its face, which is a interesting design decision. I kind of like it in that it keeps the threat of the Locust Devil a bit mysterious. There's a bit more mystique to it. Mm, but at the same time, I don't like that it's very Griffith looking. Let's see. See, whoever had the theory of Asa betraying Denji, you kind of see it now. Hmm. Well, actually, I never heard of that, especially in, I don't know, but at this point there's a bunch of theory for everything that it's like if you read some Reddit threads when part 2 first started, a lot of these won't even make sense anymore. You're just so far removed from where we started. But yeah, again, I'm not really sure where we're going with this in general. I do wish to see more of Hell. I do feel the Hell chapters are some of the most interesting ones, usually. But yeah, I think that's about all I got for the week. Again, a really short chapter. Do I think there's going to be a part 3? I do I think there's going to be one? I don't, because I do feel like reading part 2, I do get the feeling that Fujimoto is getting a bit burnt out from both an art point and like a writing point. I do feel both have gotten not as crisp as part 1, not as quite planned out. I do hope there is a part 3. I do hope Fujimoto takes maybe a bit more time to plan it, but my read of Fujimoto as a writer is that he's more short story oriented. I don't feel he's quite as good with longer stories. So I do feel he might just end it here, but personally, I do wish that we have a part 3 because there are a good amount of unresolved plot points so far. Uh, but we'll see. We'll see. For Yoru shots being weaker, maybe the Four Horsemen are weaker when they are far away from society. That's a good point as well, because I guess for 3 of the 4 of them, their powers are very based on like human ideas for like control, hunger, and what's the other one? Not death. And war. I forgot war. I'm like the devils. But yeah, they're very human oriented ideas. I guess maybe control could be devil as well. But I guess. Hmm, I do feel the Death Devil should have been stronger in general. I don't quite like how. I guess I'm thinking about like how the Death Devil will work in Hell, because she is respected by other powerful devils, but at the same time, her powers are really like time time activation, time reliant. So my understanding of the Death Devil so far is that like her powers have activated in the past, in hell, and then it caused maybe like all the surrounding devils to die, which is why she is feared. But 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 but, but yeah, the abyss in the Bible is referred to as the bottomless pit in Revelation, often envisioned as a dark, deep ocean where demonic forces reside. Yes, yes. It's been a while since I read the Bible, since I've been to church. I used to go to church, but not for like Bible related purposes. I go on Tuesdays for basketball, and it's been a while since I went. Not that knowledgeable on my Bible lore, but I do remember there's a good amount of like ocean related topics in Revelation, because I think they mentioned like the nine-headed dragon is gonna come out of the ocean and then do some shit. I don't remember my specifics, but that's a great point. You wonder what hell is, because if there's ocean and fields and hells, it's like a copy of Earth. Honestly, I feel like you would have to be really creative to have a vision of hell that's not seen anywhere on Earth. You would have to come up with like some Neptune shit. But I am not creative for that myself. I guess my other thoughts on hell, and honestly the ecosystem of like Chainsaw Man in general, is that so we know that other planets exist and that they are factored into the world of Chainsaw Man as a whole, right? Because Makima mentioned that like stars were erased by Pochita in the past. So you would think that aliens exist and aliens have their own fears and their own devils that come of it. But at the same time, we don't really see any. We don't see like I'm sure Locust is maybe not an issue for aliens in other galaxies. They have their own variation of those probably. So I don't know. Maybe this whole hell thing is like humans' hell, and then aliens have their own hells. In all honesty, Fujimoto probably didn't like think that hard about it, but regardless. But yeah, that's about all I've got for now. Again, a really short chapter. Let's see, what else have I been up to? I'm still watching Evangelion. I'm on episode. I think I'm around the halfway point. I think I'm on 13 now. Overall, I like it a lot. Except there's this one motherfucker. There's that one character. What's his name? The fucking Kaji is the guy's name. I hate that motherfucker, man, because every time he shows up, all he does is like sexually harass women, and he's a walking HR violation. And he just like I am not the targeted endangered group, but like in I support women's rights, and in solidarity with all women, I condemn the guy because the motherfucker is just give me the EBGBs every time he shows up. He's just being a creep, and he's not even hot. He shouldn't be able to get away with it. It's terrible. So that's my biggest dislike of any character in the show so far. But otherwise, who's my favorite character in Evangelion? Honestly, right now there's not that many options. Because right now we have Rei, who literally does nothing so far. She's just present. Shinji is interesting, but I wouldn't say that he is the. I mean, I like him fine, but I don't think he's like the most unique character in terms of like standing out right now. Like he's cool in that he has a lot of relatable traits, and then you can understand like why he does what he does. Um, I like Misato a lot less than I thought I would. I think I said that maybe a week or two ago because she is also using not Denji. She's using Shinji a lot, but she's like the least worst of them. Shinji's dad is a massive dickhead. I don't think there's anything to like about him. And then there's Asuka, which so I guess my to actually answer your question, my favorite right now would be Asuka because she is So here's the thing: I usually really don't like tsunderes because I just it's like why do they exist? I don't. No one act like them in real life. But like Asuka is so very what's the word? She brings like a unique energy to the show that other people don't. Cause she's really like the only one that's bantering. She's the one that's like making the show fun and colorful. So like to actually answer your question, I think by default it has to be Asuka's because every other character is kind of like very angsty and very what's the word for it? Very sullen and very like it's like a very drowning, very suffocating atmosphere for most of the show. And I feel Asuka brings like an air of freshness to it. But yeah, so yeah, Asuka does by the is my favorite by like the process of elimination. Yes. Um yeah, Misato is a lot like Himeno in that she can be competent or she's put into like a position of in charge of like operation, but she does freak out quite a lot. I would say Misato is more competent than Himeno because we were on two missions with Himeno in part one, or I guess one mission, and then the other one they got like ambushed. The first one, the only mission we've been on with her, she just like freaked out and then tried to kill Denji, which is not very composed of her. And the other one, she just got shot. She did like pull out the Ghost Devil to help out Denji and Aki and all that, but it's less of like a act of competency in my head and more of like an act of love to save Aki, which is cool in its own way, but yeah, anyways, I do find a lot of similarities between Himeno and Sato. But I'll try to finish up Evangelion the next week or two, because I am getting pretty hooked on it, but my pacing is slow. Shinji does match a lot of Denji's arc in part one, everybody telling him what he has to do. Yeah, for sure, for sure. I guess another thing, well, not another thing. It's completely unrelated, but when watching like older movies or shows about the future, because Evangelion takes place in 2015, I do like to look for like what they think future technology is going to look like, and then like see what they get right and what they get wrong. And across pretty much every show in like the 80s, 90s, maybe even like the early 2000s, I don't think anyone really predicted the like how fast and how much phones are gonna improve by in the next decade or two. Because in Evangelion's 2015, the people there are start using like old Nokia cell phones, and even like they're doing like what do you call it? Like in their schools, they have to like drop coins in their phones and call that way. what do you call those? Because they're not quite phone booths, because they're like hung on the wall. But yeah, so that's something I always enjoy about sci-fi shows. I do wonder, like, what 20, 30 years from now the future tech is gonna look like versus like our current sci-fi shows. But yeah, I think that's about all I've got for the week. There is no break for next week, so we will come back with chapter 227. Yeah, thanks for the comments. I'll see you guys next week. Bye bye.